Hi, it's Lee here. I'm going to do some more work on this cover for my nature journal. So far this is what I've done. So I've got some fabric here that has, I hope that's focusing, some gold thread through it. I've got eco-dyed fabric, runs in a strip across there. And what this is here is texture paste. So texture paste pushed through a stencil, which was a stencil of a flowery, viney sort of thing. And once that was dry, I painted it black, and then I've painted it with this gilding polish. So it's a sort of an olivey gold polish. The fabric itself on here is a very botanical type of fabric, and I just feel that it needs something in this area. I'm not worried about covering over that flower, but what I thought I'd make was a bit of a book plate to fit on there. And I've got a cardboard box here with some illustrations on it, which I think would be just perfect for making the book plate out of. So we've got that there. I've got this part here, which I really like because of the twiggy thing, even the sustainably grown, but most of that will be covered over. It's got a little lady beetle, so I think I'm just going to take a piece out of it down here, and then I've got some papers and scraps of lace and things that I'll put on as well. Whoopsie, didn't really mean to tear it like that, but it should still work. Maybe I didn't want it to be too neat, but I didn't want it to be super rough. So yeah, like that. And if any of that happens to show, well, so be it. And yeah, so I've got a few things here. I've got a pool of glue on my desk. I was filling up my art glitter, refilling my little bottle, and I didn't notice it was coming up to the top, so I want to get some things glued down fairly quickly to use that up rather than waste it. So I've got these bits and pieces here. I've got pieces of paper that I've just been fiddling around with, and got music paper, so that's always a good start. Pop a bit of that on there, I think. I like the curly edge there, so I'm just going to put that on there. Let me get rid of this out of the way. Don't know if you can see the shimmer on that. I don't know whether you're supposed to actually rub that to... It's not rub and buff, and it's gilding polish, so I don't know whether I'm supposed to be rubbing it to shine it up or not. Okay, so let's get a paintbrush, and hope everybody's enjoying following the journey. I know I'm not putting up huge amounts about this book, just snippets here and there. And of course I've got that little video where I made the Giboneri's one-shot pocket flower press. So that was my one there. So that's going to go into the book. And this is going to be upside down, which is fantastic because I love things being upside down. I'm going to pop that on there. I'll tear off a piece of this. I was just mucking around with a stencil, seeing how it would look, and just going to take that bit there off. So what I want to do with this is to build up some layers and then put some of this stuff over here on it as well, and then I'm going to put some eyelet holes in it just to jazz it up a bit. And I think I'll pull a piece of this off. This isn't going to be used for anything else, so I'll just take that away. It's quite a nice little piece to pop in there. Maybe I could put it back up the top. Should have decided that before I put the glue on. We would a little better there, down here, up here I think. Take it up. Okay, and just one more piece of some sort of paper. Just going to look through my scraps. Okay, but I've got a couple of things here. I've got that, but I don't think that's going to go. The colour's not going to suit. I do have a piece of this monogamied scrapbook paper. Put a bit of that in. So I'll go that way, like that. I think that'll do for paper. Now I want to put down some of these textiles. So I've got this bit of organza, and I've got this in the book as well, so I've used it, a piece similar size to that, and I've just put it in between some pages, just for the heck of it. It serves no purpose, it's just a little bit of interest. I'm going to pop that down on there. Now I have this tangled mess of cheesecloth here. I'm just going to cut a bit of that off. So that could go on there like that. And something I do want to make to go on this is either a wire flower or a wire leaf. Now, I've never made one before, so I'll have to get this bit done and then concentrate on working out how to do that. So I think if I was to, I'm just going to use like jewellery wire. I've got one that's a little bit heavier. I'm not sure what grade it is. I thought if I draw a flower and then just make the wire flower from the drawing, I think that makes sense. So I think I'll put in a little bit of this gold, because the gold features throughout the journal here and there. And this is sari silk out of a rug. Pop it there. So I'm going to apply all this and then I'm going to give it a good squash down, in case you're wondering. Okay. So I've got that. Take that down a little bit. Sorry about the car going past. Okay, and then I've got this here, which I really like, but I think it lacks a bit of colour. So I thought maybe to put some distress ink on there. And I've got forest moss and I've got peeled paint. And I think either one of them would be fine. You just put that in water. And I thought I'd just, which is the front, it's got a little rust mark on it, I love that. I don't think there's a difference between either side of them, so I'm just going to push it into onto the ink pad, and then I'm going to give it a little bit of a wet, some water. Yep. And that was peeled paint that I used then. See what happens with that. As you can see, that's going to look quite nice and will match the cover, the fabric that's on the cover. So I've got a piece of that fabric over here. It had parrots on it. It has parrots, and I cut the parroty bit out. Parroty bit, not parroty. But I think I'm going to use some of that parrot fabric part of it, you know, on journal cards. So I wonder if that needs a little bit of, say, something like vintage photo. What have I got here? Well, I've got some alcohol ink here. See what happens when I put alcohol ink on it. It's a nice mix of colours. Let's add a little bit of water. Now I'm going to have to let this dry now, of course. Okay, so there's plenty of water there, so don't need all that. Let's just put that on a piece of music paper. Squish some of the ink out, and then we're colouring a piece of music paper at the same time. This is pull off painting palette, and I had used the other side, so that's what you can see through there. I was colouring something else on the other side of it. Oh, I've just had an idea. Yes. Oops. So I've got a piece of, let's pop that out of the way for the moment. So I've got a piece of paper out of an art book, an art journal-y type book. So I'm just going to put that on there and fold that over, squeeze the glue out, the ink out, and just see what happens on the paper. And then I'm going to use my heat gun to dry that lace so I can pop it onto that little cluster. Oh, look at that. That looks nice. Let me just do a bit more, see if I can get a bit more out. I hope I'm not making the camera move too much. Sorry if I'm giving you vertigo or anything like that, making you seasick. This is a good way of getting the ink out, creating something else at the same time. Give it another squish down here. Alrighty, now I've got this bit still left on the paper here, so I'll get rid of that. It's quite interesting. I'll put that aside and use that on something else. And I'm just going to use my heat gun to dry those things, those flowers. That's dry now, so that's what it looks like at the moment. And this is, I've already squished this down a little bit while I was drying this thing, and that will sit on here, something like that, and give you an idea of how it's going to look on the book cover itself. So if we're looking at something like that, I think that's nice, but should I have it the other way around? Let me try it this way. That's the big decision, which way it's going to go. So I might put it this way, and that can go on there. But I think it needs something underneath it to just come out from underneath a little bit. So I can either put, I don't want to put that down on there in case it gets ink on it, a little bit more of this, or perhaps a little bit of this. So let me just get a piece of paper just to protect the book cover. Okay, so if that's what it looks like now. So we could have a piece of this popping out the side like that. Looks okay. Don't think it's messy enough for me though. Maybe it would look okay on this side. Let's just pop it around over here. I could go all the way down like that. And then put that on there. That doesn't look too bad. And the other thing that I was thinking is to put, what's this? It's a bit grungy than what I want, so I've got more of this. So if I put, let me just cut a piece of that off, roughly. Don't care about it being neat. So let's pop that on there. That could be on the cover, and then that could go on the top. I think I actually like this better than the lace, and I think I would like a bit more of it than what's there. So that's a more of a it surrounds it a little bit more, if you know what I mean. So there's more of it, and I do want to colour that, and maybe up here I want to go over that with some, I don't know, I've got both of those colours of ink, like Distress Oxide, that I could put on there. So I've got some Wild Honey, and I've got those other, the Peeled Paint and the Forest Moss. So I could use them. Let me just cut another portion of this. I don't know how this got into the condition it's in. I think it's just been screwed up and thrown in with all the other scraps. So every time I go looking through them, it gets mucked up a bit more. I think I like that. What do you think? I think I love that. I think it just needed that pop of white underneath. So what I'm going to do is colour those bits of cardboard that I want to colour. So I'll just take that away for a moment, and I need to decide. I think I need to put some yellow in there. So if I go Wild Honey, here we go. It's this one. I think that'll be a good colour, and I'm just going to use a brush to apply that. Just a brush with a bit of water on it. Well, that's not as orange as I thought it was going to be, but I think it'll be alright. I'll try it before I make my decision. Make my final decision. Okay. Pop a little bit up here. I do think it needs to be a bit darker. It's got a rusty hinge. Oh, just see what this looks like on the book, and then I'll decide. I think it's too yellow. It needs to be closer to that colour. Okay. Alright, I'm going to put some rusty hinge on there. I sort of feel like putting vintage photo on it, to be honest. Yeah, that's better. I prefer that orangey colour. So when you put that on there, it looks better together, I'm pretty sure. In my eyes it does. And that's what it looked like sitting on top of that. So it's all similar, and now I'm thinking, do I put some vintage photo onto that? I've got heaps of that left, so I'm going to try it. Just see. Oh, did I put that? Oh, that was lucky. I thought I put it in the ink. Nearly. Okay, so I'm just going to go straight onto this. A little bit of water. So that colour goes really warm when you wet it. Only thing is now I've got to wait for it to dry before I can try that out, because I don't want to contaminate my book cover and then find out it's not what I want. And I've put vintage photo on my book cover. Let me just, it's very warm, isn't it? Considering what it starts off like before the water is added. Let me just see. Maybe that's not the right brown. Maybe walnut stain would have been better. Walnut stain. I'll try this one. I'm just going to go straight onto it. I think that's more the brown that I want, but is it going to now pick up the vintage photo and not be the colour I want? Anyway, let me just wet this, and then I'm going to put this on it. Coffee dyed would have been the ideal way to go, I guess. You see the difference in the colour between that and this. This is a cooler brown. Okay, let me just fiddle with this. Put it in a bit of a way that it might look like on the book. And so much for wanting the white underneath it. Now I'm not doing white at all. Okay, but there's white on the card. I actually think that looks good. And we've got the little bit of white there. So I'm going to go with that. And I'm going to just add a little bit of walnut stain onto here. Just in a couple of places. Get a little bit more water. I should just do it this way, shouldn't I? You're probably not meant to do that with your distress inks, but I've always done it. Sometimes it doesn't pay to know everything. If someone had said to me, no, you can't do that, you'll wreck your inks, I probably would have never been as experimental with them as I have been. And you're not supposed to get your distress inks and your distress oxides mixed together or use the same daubers on them, and I do all the time. So yeah, sorry about that, Mr. Tim Holtz. Okay, I'm going to dry that off and then check it out on the book. So this is how it's looking. What do you think? I'm quite liking it. And I'm just wondering whether my sewing machine would get through this cardboard and everything, because I think it would look nice if there was some stitches through this. So I'm going to give that a try. I think that looks nice. So you've got the orange, green, orange. You've got gold, and then you've got that white and the orange, and then this grungy looking stuff here, and then you've got gold again. So I think that is what I'm going to do with the cover. I'm going to put little metal corners on here too, so that'll tidy the corners up nicely. So I'm just going to take this to my sewing machine and see if I can get it to stitch that big clump of stuff together. Okay, so it did actually sew through, and I added in this little piece of doily here, and on this side I brought like that piece over onto here and stitched it down, but I also put a clean piece just in there as well, just for a little bit more contrast. So I need to glue down this because it's not stitched except for a little bit there and down here. So let me glue that on. Okay, let's get the book over, and that's going to be all sort of gathered up a little bit, and that's what it's going to look like. You know what? I still think it needs some white underneath the... Let me just... It's like chasing your tail, isn't it? You do one thing and it makes you do another, and then you change it, and then you go back, and then you got to redo it, and yeah, I'm going to put some white on there, and I'm just going to glue it onto the book first. So I'm just going to cut through that section. So I'm just going to spread this out a little bit, and sort of get it where I think it will be. Do I need all that up there? I think I want it like that, and I think I want it like, see, it could come out to this side a little bit more. So if I pull that way and pull that way, let's have a look. So this bit I'm just going to tuck up over there for the time being. And that will go... No, I think it needs to go this way. I think I didn't cut it long enough. Let me stretch it out. Okay, so let's go that down there. because it changes shape so easy, this stuff. It's really poor quality cheesecloth. Nothing like what I see like the European YouTubers use. Okay, so I'm quite liking that. So let me just, if I just start gluing it down, I think that's going to be the best option. Glue it and then amend if needed. So this is the problem, it's so sticky and it sticks to your fingers. So if I put the glue where I want the cloth to be, then I can manipulate it into the right places. Okay, so let's go out here. So there. And where's that bit gone? There we go. That bit there, and I can bring that up into there. If I can get it off my fingers. And I think that's just about in the right place. I can get that to stay just a little bit off the edge there. And that will go. Maybe I need to cut a bit of this off. Just a tad. That needs to come down a little bit. Would have loved to use that on the cover. I drew a leaf onto it and then I tried sewing, but I got sick of doing the veins and it was too big, so it didn't get, it's gone back into, be reconfigured into something else. Okay, so I think we're pretty much where we need to be here. And do I need all that? What if I pull some of it across like that? How does that look? It sort of covers up the other bits though. Okay, I'm going to trim it. Need to trim something like that. Yep. Okay. That's the way it's going to be. Let's get some glue on it before I change my mind again. And get it in place so it can dry before I do my next step on the cover. I've been delaying binding the signatures in because well, you know, there might be some pages that I changed my mind about having sewing around the edges and things like that, so it's a bit hard to sew once the book is bound together. So that's why I haven't put it together yet. And of course there's always the possibility that I'll change my mind about the order that the pages are in. So by not binding it, you can still change those things. Real sticky. Okay, let's press that down. And gently remove. Okay, so that's the cover. I think pretty much is taken as far as I want to take it, unless I put like a journal plate or something, you know, like, what do you, the label, the metal label thing. Yeah. So it's going to have the corners, so they will look nice. Yeah, happy with that. I'm not going to do anything else with the back of it, but the spine, once it's bound, I'm going to put something down the spine, decorate that in some way. I sort of feel like I want to stick some beads or something on there. I think that'll look really nice actually. Let's see what I've got. Okay, so I found these little beads, and I'm going to put 3 of them on here, and I'm wondering which glue to use. I think I'll use the art glitter glue, see how that goes. I'm going to put one there, if it'll stay there. One there. I might have to, if it doesn't stick, I might have to use the Gorilla Glue or super glue. And then this one I think can go there. Maybe there. I don't want it to be in line with the other one, so it can be there or can be there. I think here. So that looks like that now. So I've got my 3 little beads, and as I say, if it doesn't stick with the art glitter glue, I'll use a different glue. So far so good. And that's where we are at with the cover. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make some journaling cards and some tags, so I'll show you a few of them when I make them, and until then I'll see you in the next video. So cheers from Australia. Hooroo. Bye.